What is the best way, online and offline, to improve comprehension skills? I talk about that in this audio. Enjoy.
We use this call to help us start our day. We use this call to help us fix our mindsets. And, every day we all need to fix our mindsets. Why? Because we're human. And we all need to use all the materials and resources that we possibly can to help us keep our minds where they belong. Regarding this book that we're reading, As a Man Thinketh, I was first introduced to this book when I was 23 years old. Now, in a few weeks, I'll be 63, so that means 40 years ago is when I first was introduced to this book. And I'm going to be honest with everybody, not that I haven't been up until this point, but when I first started reading this book, here's what my attitude was. This book is so complicated. The vernacular, the words that he uses, the phrases that he uses to describe things about our thoughts, it's over my head. I'm sorry, but this book is over my head. I'll read through it, but half of it, or more than half of it, I didn't even understand. So that was my initial attitude toward this book 40 years ago. At the same time, I remember this vividly, and why did I remember that it was when I was 23 years old? Well, real simple. There was another book that I was reading at that time, and that was called The Greatest Salesman in the World by Og Mandino. And what I had done with that book, because I understood the words better than I could understand as a man thinketh, is I wrote down the 10 great scrolls for success that Og Mandino wrote in his book. First I read it, and then I said, oh my goodness, imagine that if he says to read this and read this and read this and read this. I thought, let me write it down. And I did. I wrote down every single word and all 10 great scrolls for success on 3x5 cards. And I'll tell you what, that was a fat list of cards, I'll tell you. So what I did was I read it to myself from my own handwriting after I wrote it down. And I read it and read it and read it, but I recorded myself on a cassette recorder. Back then, the internet wasn't even an idea yet. And I kept reading it to myself and read it over and over and over again because having been an actor and a singer, I knew what it took to memorize things. And sure enough, I memorized all 10 great scrolls for success. But there was one particular part of the 10 great scrolls for success in the 9th scroll, and that 9th scroll was entitled, I Will Act Now. One of the sections of that scroll said, I will not avoid the tasks of today and charge them to tomorrow, for I know that tomorrow never comes. Let me act now, even though my actions may not bring happiness or success, for it is better to act and fail than not to act and flounder. And the biggest part of that piece right there was, it is better to act and fail than not to act and flounder. I replaced the word act with the word think. And I said, for it is better to think and fail than not to think and flounder. Why was that important to me? Well, for two reasons. Number one, I wanted to overcome my inability to understand the words that James Allen was saying in As a Man Thinketh. And I remember this vividly.
What is the best way, online and offline, to improve comprehension skills? I believe you will see that in this audio.
I discovered today that my thoughts and how I think and what I should think about on the effect that my thoughts have on my circumstances and the effects that my thought has on my health and my body. We're finishing up the effect of thought on circumstances in As a Man Thinketh, and then we're going to go right into the effect of thought on health and body. And I thought to myself, as a man thinketh, I've been thinking, because I had the epiphany a few weeks ago, that I need to respond in a positive fashion to the condition of my heart and what's going to go on, which incidentally is January 7th. I have open heart surgery to replace an aortic valve and possibly the mitral valve, which he'll decide when he's in there. And I'm actually looking forward to this surgery. And it seems like every person I tell about it, the first response they go is, oh, and they feel badly for me. My thoughts and the effect that my thoughts have on my health and my body, I understand and am so grateful that I have learned how to understand and appreciate the effects that our thoughts have on our health and our body. And I couldn't believe that that's what I'm going to be reading about today in As a Man Thinketh. I just wanted to say that the effects that our thoughts have on our health and body is very important. But what's also very important It's better to think and fail than not to think and flounder. And you know what? It's not my will. It's my thoughts. And as long as I'm in alignment with my higher power, then I can overcome anything that I want to overcome and accomplish anything I want to accomplish with that power behind me.
What is the best way, online and offline, to improve comprehension skills? Follow what I teach in this audio, and you'll be good.
And that power of thought was given to me by my higher power, and so I acknowledge that and am grateful for it. With that said, I hope today is a wonderful day for everyone, and we can make it that way. And don't let anyone steal your dreams, and bye for now.